Very good. I think Brother B is just joining.
All right. So,
how was your day?
My day was excellent.
Very good. So we are all on the same page. It's just before Brother B joins, maybe he's already in the waiting room.
All right, let me just check. No, he's not yet.
Yeah. The idea, Mr. Mawere, is that we provide an exchange where people can carry out instant transactions that are settled in real time. Yeah.
Yeah.
On the exchange, in order to drive trade and drive commerce across the continent. And we are not only focusing on one country. The exchange has been designed to give us the possibility to bring on board operations across 54 African countries, so that we have a Pan-African payment exchange that enables local and cross-border payments instantly.
Okay.
It's actually quite revolutionary. So it needs to be looked at. Maybe one needs to take a step back and think outside of the box. It's not the traditional way of banking. Yeah.
Yeah.
The traditional way of banking is that you take your money, you go and put it in the bank, and the bank keeps it. Yeah. And the bank then gives you a way to go back to the bank to withdraw the money, or gives you a mobile app so you can transfer the money to other people, or gives you a card so you can make payments online and things like that. What we're saying is that in Africa, people use cash and they keep that cash in their pocket. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And what we want to do is replace that cash in their pocket with cash in their electronic wallet. So it's not now in their pocket, but it's in their electronic wallet that they have full control over.
Mm-hmm.
That way, if I was going to make a cash payment, I simply take my hand, put it in my pocket, take out my cash and pay.
Mm-hmm.
If the money is in your electronic wallet, all you need to do is dip into your electronic wallet and pay.
Yeah.
Now, and we want to be able to do that in the same way that if you had cash in your pocket and you travel to Nigeria, when you get to Nigeria and you have South African rand, of course, you cannot spend South African rand in Nigeria. You need to exchange it to Nigerian naira when you enter Nigeria, right?
Yeah.
So we provide the possibility to do that swap. But we don't want to have multiple complex exchange, foreign exchange currency pairs on the exchange. We only want to deal with one pair at any one particular time. And that's why we are insisting on using GBPX against every other currency.
Yeah, that's where that's where we have a different way of look. Because if I'm looking at the globe today,
yes,
and I look at the global liquidity and the transactions that take place,
yes,
then I'm forced to acknowledge the dominance of one particular currency, which is from a transactional value, because we tried with the euro, tried with the yen, tried with the yuan, whatever currency you think of. So in terms of entry and exit, it's not that is the best, but that's what the world we have inherited. So to make it client-centric, then although, good afternoon. They seem to be, hello?
Yes, hello, I can hear you.
Yeah, I think they, all right, let's see now whether it's okay.
Good afternoon, can you hear us?
Yeah.
I can hear you.
But there's some cracking sound there in the background. I think not on your side. All right. Good afternoon, Mr. B.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, there was some noise. Yeah, we were just on it already.
Are you still hearing the noise?
Yeah, I'm still hearing the noise.
Yeah, I'm also hearing a crackling noise.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it's gone.
Let's see. Is it
I've
gone?
muted. Yeah, it's gone now.
You have two devices. The noise is gone.
The noise is gone now.
But have we lost Mr. Mb?
No, I'm here.
Yeah, he's there.
I can hear you.
Okay, very good.
Yeah. So now, we'll discuss the other macro issues because we are not saying things differently, but we're just looking at what is the best way to start. The way I look at it is that we got a community. Let's say we have a community or animals came together and they had value in them that they store in a central place.
Yes.
And they wish to distribute that value among the members in that family.
Yes.
Yes.
They will be regulated by their own rules.
Yes.
The payment side, we are not taking any liabilities in the first place. We are just giving them a convenient tool to transact.
Yes.
So you can only transact what you would have handed.
Correct.
You can't transact on the basis of a claim or some futuristic asset.
Correct.
So whatever you have is what you trade with.
Correct.
So we are saying in the liquid market of members, we want a device that we control in terms of the value of your assets.
Yes.
So if I open a bank account today, I will open in my company's name or my personal person. But if I'm married, I have children, I can also give them the right to withdraw.
Correct.
And the right to deposit in my account.
Yes.
And the right to transfer within the family accounts. So those functions is what we are saying. Let's start with and look at the convenience, the transactional convenience, and the cost inherent in paying outside the family structures.
Yes.
And we then sell it as a first round of entry into the banking market, but on the transactional side. We don't want to take anyone's deposit. We are not lending in the first instance.
Okay.
Yeah. So that requires a link to the bank because the money will be deposited in the bank.
Okay.
And the sum of the parts will be the sum of the total ecosystem.
Okay. Let me just explain one thing. That's why I often say maybe we need to think outside of the box for a little bit. But let me ask you one question. Let's say you have RAN in your account in South Africa.
Yeah.
You then convert that RAN into GBPX. Okay. Forget for the moment that is GBPX. It could be USDX. It could be EuroX. It could be, any other currency. But let's say, for example, you convert it to GBPX, and we allow you to be able to move that GBPX from South Africa to pay for a good or service in Cameroon. Now, when it reaches Cameroon, it needs to be converted to Cameroon franc CFA so that the person can spend it locally, or they can leave it in GBPX so they can pay somebody in Gabon or pay somebody in Nigeria. Yeah. Now, we are taking the responsibility off your hands to settle that guy in Cameroon. And we are saying that the exchange will take care of that. So for the exchange to take care of that and to take on that responsibility to settle that transaction on your behalf in Cameroon, the exchange needs to be able to have access and control over your initial deposit in Rand that was converted into GBPX. Now, because we don't have a way of controlling Rand in South Africa, because we don't have a local financial institution in South Africa, the only conduit for you to do that in a managed and controlled way is for you to buy GBPX, because by buying GBPX, we have that instant control. And if you then send that GBPX to Cameroon, we can settle the guy in Cameroon. That's the first thing to understand.
No, I think there's no problem with that, but you may be aware that South Africa is subject to exchange controls. And let's say I am a holder of a South African.
Okay, it's an interesting point you raised there. Very interesting point.
Yeah.
But what we're saying is that right now, in the absence of a financial institution that can take care of that exchange control, we use the local bank that has issued you with a card to make international purchases.
Yeah, no, I'm saying is that assume that I'm just looking at South Africa in terms of internal. I don't need forex.
Okay, so Doc, I think let me respond to that. What we are looking at the moment, Mr. Mawere, is a situation where there's an entry point in ZAR and an exit point in ZAR, right? So for that to happen, the simplest way, especially for a membership organization, is for that membership organization to become a merchant.
That's what we wanted to go through.
And if that membership organization is a merchant, then it means the membership organization would hold a reserve, or the membership organization would place a reserve with the exchange and trade against that reserve with its members.
Exactly.
So in this case, we will be saying that either it's a WEC account or it's a WEC 1873 account that you create, and that becomes the reserve account. And that amount is placed in that reserve account. Once it gets into that reserve account, then the 1873 account is now credited with that reserve account. So at that point, any member who has now opened an account, what they do is that they come to the 1873 AHS merchant account. They place a request with AHS, and AHS handles that request on behalf of the exchange. So what would happen then is that I am member number 001, and I want to deposit my membership fee of 100 Rand. What I do is that I place that 100 Rand in the hands of AHS, and then AHS is debited in the exchange by 100 Rands.
And the customer is credited by 100 Rand.
The customer, but in this case, the customer is paying for its membership, so the customer is also debited because it's a membership fee. So
That's
they are
correct.
buying from the AHS exchange,
Yeah.
from the AHS marketplace. They are buying a product which is membership.
Yeah.
So when they buy that product, AHS is credited by that member's value. But if the member wants to withdraw or to deposit cash as into their own account in the exchange, what will happen is they will deposit 100 rands with AHS. AHS would be debited in the exchange 100 rands, and the client will be credited with 100 rands because they've deposited. In the converse, let me just finish this last part. In the converse, what would happen? They want to come and withdraw. They will withdraw. AHS will give them the 100 rands. AHS will, and the exchange will debit the client and credit AHS. So that is how it would work.
All right. No, that one is not a problem. I brought Sandile with us.
Mm-hmm.
He is also got a company that has a relationship with FNB,
Mm-hmm.
and they have a debit card system for the unbanked people.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe Sandile, you can just go through what the system is. Again, you were here before. I think you was here with us before.
I
There's
don't know
an
whether it's
enterprise
there.
account.
I can't see it.
He has just gone out. So let me describe, because we are working together on POS devices for Spaza Shop. So I wanted to see how best we can integrate that into the World Economic Forum platform. So the system works as follows. Company A opens an account with enterprise account with FNB, and members of that grouping, they can deposit funds, and those funds will be loaded in a debit card issued by FNB. And each member or each person is allowed a maximum of 20,000 rand per month. So what then happens is that you can swipe the card, you can use the card as a basis to pay.
Okay.
But it's connected to your phone. So you can top up at any ATM machine.
Okay.
And then you can also use merchants to swipe, those with a POS device. So my thinking was that for the low end of the market, we take that as one aspect. Instead of terminating in a card, you can terminate in the exchange.
Yeah.
Yes.
So you can download your money from the card into the exchange.
Yes.
So you debit your card, you credit your exchange account.
Yes, correct.
Yeah, correct.
And then you can spend in the platform.
Correct. That
If
will
you
work.
need to reverse it, you can then load your card.
Yes, that will work.
By reversing. So that way we have one entry. Then if you are not in that category, you're already in the banking system, then you can simply deposit into the account of company A in the FNB account.
Yeah.
And then transfer that money into the exchange account.
Yeah.
In the name of the depositor.
That's true.
And then the depositor will then be able to transact within the exchange.
Okay, one suggestion at the moment is that AHS becomes that gateway between the exchange and the customer, as a
That's
very
right.
in South Africa. So when a customer wants to deposit into the exchange, they don't have to deposit directly into the exchange. They deposit with AHS, and AHS credits the account.
Yeah, but we have Sandile is now back with us.
So,
Hello?
Yes,
I think before we get, Sandley, I see you are upside down or sideways or something. Is it him? We are seeing you sideways.
I don't know.
Maybe rotate your
having,
device.
No, that's not
me.
Sandile. That's Saviors.
Oh,
Saviors?
Saviors in the red tea. Is that?
Oh yeah, I thought it was Sandile. Okay, Sandile is not on camera.
Sandile is undercover.
I can see.
He's not showing his.
Yeah,
He's a submarine.
Sorry about that. I'm just having connection issues with the video. So when I turn on the video, it cuts. So I'm just gonna use audio.
All right.
Okay.
So I was just going to say that it is just fascinating that some of what we have been clamoring from the rooftops, some of the mainstream banks are coming along, because a few days ago, FNB announced a virtual card, because we have been saying this thing of plastic cards has really no value. Everything has to move into, so FNB announced the launch of their virtual card, which you basically just download from their app, and then you have it with you. You know, this is something we've been talking about, and it's was set up in one of the organizations that we are partners with. They created a virtual card, probably a virtual Visa card, probably 5 years ago. And it's been used in some parts of the world already. So it's good that some of the mainstream banks are coming to the limelight with this idea of literally dealing away with some of the the ancient tools that we have used for transactions, for going into for in areas where people have never known cards. There's still that fascination of holding a physical card in your hand to be able to use and do transactions. So just listening to what Mr. Mawere was describing, there is a very good possibility for us to be able to execute and terminate using the card system that you guys have set up with FNB. And maybe down the road, what could happen is that we could start looking at the virtual card that they've created and see how we integrate that into the system.
No, it's already because we have to buy the physical card. But if we have a virtual card, then it means we can then, because there's already an enterprise account with FNB.
Yes.
Just a question of changing the physical form of the card.
Yeah, they launched it, I think, 2 days ago. No, the launch was on the 20.
Yeah, I'm saying
something. Yeah.
Now we can use the same as long as because they have a limit to KYC.
KYC, yeah.
Yeah, so they can limit the where you have no documentation
Exactly.
or minimum documentation. You have a limit to your card. So this is just the limits they impose on the use of the card.
Yeah.
So that we can deal with. But I'm saying on our side, if we choose to work together, it means that the meeting tomorrow that Sandile attends, it means if B is available or whoever is available, it becomes easier to explain what we want and what integration is possible, so that a person does not have to go to an ATM machine to deposit. Or if they do, they can just deposit in the account, then it's shown on the platform as a deposit held by AHS or the company that they are using. It will show real time. Once I put the money, it will then show, then it allows me to put that money to a platform.
Yeah.
Okay, so there is a meeting tomorrow with
FNB.
Yeah, he's meeting the branch manager. What time are you going? Planning to go, Sandile?
At 1.
So it's at 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then on the development side, maybe you may want to brief them on what you are doing on the development side.
In terms of which platform, Mr. Mawere, the banking enterprise or the EVD?
EVD.
All right. So we have point of sale devices that we distribute to merchants. So currently what we're working on is we're working on our own backend system. So we've been licensing that system. So currently we're working on our own system. So what an EVD does basically is that it allows you to distribute your virtual tokens, right? So your virtual tokens could be anything from your prepaid products to your financial services, your account payments, and all those things, right? So the plan is that we complete the development of the EVD.
We are not really. I don't know. Can you guys hear Sandile properly? I really am struggling to understand because it's cutting.
Can you guys hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Better now.
It's loud, but yeah, better. Just talk again.
And now?
Yeah, I could hear you, but you can go ahead.
You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I think B was struggling to hear you. So let's try again.
Right, V, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. I can hear you, Sandile.
Okay. So what I was saying was, so we're working on an EVD system. So an EVD, basically what it does is that it allows you to virtually distribute two things: your prepaid products and financial services. So financial services will be, for instance, your account payments. An example would be we could integrate into a bank, right? You know, they have the cash send services. For instance, Capitec, you can send money to someone who doesn't have a Capitec account, and then they withdraw that money, for instance, at Pick and Pay or ShopRite, right? So with our system, we could do the same thing where we integrate into a Capitec banking system. So when someone with a Capitec account sends you money, you can then withdraw it from our merchants, right? So another thing we're able to do with the EVD is that we distribute your prepaid products. So prepaid products will be your basic things like your airtime, data, electricity, right? So you can also do account payments. You can pay for your DSTV accounts. You can pay for your insurance premiums, right? So those are the things that you can do. So currently,
and you have a product catalog for all these payments.
Yes, we do. In terms of, you're asking about the products that we have on our system.
On the EVD system. You call it the EVD system, right?
Yeah, it's an EVD system.
It's the electronic voucher.
Yeah.
It's an electronic voucher.
What does EVD stand for?
It's electronic voucher. It's an electronic voucher distribution system.
Hello. Yeah.
Okay, electronic voucher distribution system.
Yeah.
Do you have an AP? Okay, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions, if that's all right.
Sure.
Yes. Now, let's take airtime, for example. Can people buy airtime from your EVD system from all the mobile networks in South Africa?
Yes, they can.
Yes, they can. Okay. And if somebody, all the users on your platform, they have an account, yes?
Yes, merchants, they have an account on the system.
What about individual customers?
So currently how we're doing it is that we're doing it through the point of sale devices. The point of sale devices sits with merchants, right? So what you're asking about to be the second phase where you can actually download the EVD in a form of an app into your phone,
Yes.
right? Then in that case, you then have your account individual. For now, how we're doing it is that we're doing it through point of sale devices, which we then give to merchants. So currently, it's only merchants that have accounts within the system.
Okay, so let's
Doc, let me just take one question there before you move to the next level.
yes.
Just on that particular point, what type of POS devices are you using?
So it's Android-based point of sale devices. So it's almost like a phone. It's just that it has a printer and it can print vouchers.
Okay. So my other question there is that, have you considered the alternative of not having the point of sale, the physical point of sale as it is, and rather have it on the merchant's phone?
Yes, that's the plan that we're working on, where we actually bypass the merchant, right? So we go directly to the user, the individual customer, where they download it into their phones, right, and then just access all the services from their phones, right?
I'm with you.
I'm with you. Yeah, I'm with you.
Yes. So there are literally two things there, right? There are two things there. The one thing is a merchant outlet which already has a catchment, right?
Yeah.
There's a merchant outlet which already has a catchment. Take the small garage next to my house here. There's foot traffic.
Yeah.
There's people who go in. So irrespective of how many customers I have beyond the garage, those people will still use my local garage, right? So my question is, first of all, for that catchment, have you considered, because I know that the POS devices also cost money, right? In some cases, I've seen some of the smaller POS devices that are going around here in SA. Some are even 900 rands, and you just have a small device. Some go up to about 2,000, 2,500. Depending on the kind of displays that they have. Well, in general, those POS devices, you get them for about $100, $150 at the manufacturers. So my question on that specific catchment, on that specific target is have you had a consideration of totally eliminating those POS devices and having the merchants in the shops using their own mobile phones as the POS device?
We've thought about that, right? But what you would need to consider is the kind of merchants that we have, right? So you'd find that most of the merchants would not have smartphones, right?
Okay.
And another consideration is if you're gonna give the merchants the system in the form of an app that they download into their phones, right? Another thing we need to give them is a wireless printer, right? So that they're able to print the vouchers, right? So instead of going that route, what we're thinking is that if we wanted to have the system in the form of an app that's sitting on the phone, we think it makes more business sense that we just bypass the merchant and just go directly into the individual customer, where they download it into their phones and they can just access the services from their phones.
Correct. That is channel 2. That is the second channel.
Correct. Yes.
That is the second channel getting to the customer. Let's stay with the one channel, which is the merchant outlet, right?
Yeah.
I hear the fact that you may need to print. The question is it necessary to print?
Well, from the information that we're getting from the merchants, right? It's necessary for them to print. Okay. Obviously, we have another. So there are a number of options, right? We have another option where, because what the networks have done now, they've come up with a pinless, what they call the pinless voucher, right? Where you're able to, the customer would give the number, and then you just load the voucher directly into their phone. But that system only works for airtime and data, right? So in a case where, because if you think about the portfolio of services that you're providing, it's not only airtime and data, right? Some of the vouchers, for instance, your betting vouchers, right? In that case, a merchant would need a PIN, right? Which would then use to top up their accounts with their betting accounts. So in that case, you need a voucher in the printed form, so the customer can access the PIN and then use that PIN to then top up their accounts. So that solution.
I don't think. My question is whether it should be printed or the customer can still receive it digitally, as long as they have a phone, right? Then that information can be pushed to their phone.
Yes. So what I'm trying to say is that solution only works for airtime and data, right? Because the networks, they have pinless vouchers, right? But for the other services,
the one with pins, even the one with pins,
is but only for airtime and data, right? But for the other services that we have within the system, right, it's still necessary that you have a printed voucher. I'm giving an example of betting services, right? So in that case, you won't be able to talk directly to their phones, because the betting companies, they don't have that services, unlike your telecoms, like your MTN and Vodacom, where they allow you to top up the number directly without having to print the voucher, right? But for the other services, that is not possible. So then it goes back to what I was saying, that in some of the services that we're offering, you do need a printed voucher.
What if the customer was able to display that voucher on their phone and they have it with them all the time as a receipt?
So
the information that we want to print on the voucher, that information is simply stored on the device as a transaction record in the app, and nobody needs to print, because printing paper is quite expensive. You need to buy rolls and rolls of this stuff. Hello?
Hello?
Did you get me?
Can you hear me?
Sandy, can you hear them? Sandy, can you hear?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Yeah.
The question I was asking is, what if you made it in such a way that the information that the customer needs to print is captured as a transaction record, and they can click a button on their own phone and they can see it. They don't need a printed paper. And if they want to go back at any time.
I think that's why we are part of this working team. We've been raising the same issue with Sandile, why can't we bridge into the digital world where we are paperless?
Yeah,
And
paperless.
then, and then we'll be able, but we can discuss that later on the voucher system as part of the distribution promise that we can take advantage of. But the
Yeah.
first thing is we must have the merchant and the customer talking to each other digitally.
I think the
So-
other thing is the provider of the product. I think the other thing is the provider of the, because I kind of understand Sandile to some extent, right?
Yeah.
Let's take Lotto as an example. That I buy my Lotto on the system, and then I have my numbers that I've selected, and I have it comes to my phone as a digital document. Then I win. The question is, how would Lotto validate my winnings?
Yeah. So there is.
So I kind of understand Sandile at that level where we may have to take that conversation a little bit further, even to the extent of engaging the provider and saying, hey, our people are buying digitally and holding their this thing, their vouchers electronically.
This is interesting, and there are a number of things. If I'm thinking right, or if I'm understanding this right, then there may be something we could do right now. Okay, but before I ask more questions, let me walk you through a customer journey in Uganda. In Uganda, if a customer wants to buy airtime from MTN, they go into our app, they click on buy airtime, they enter their mobile number they're buying airtime for, they submit. We collect the payment from their account, we credit the supplier of airtime, the supplier of airtime delivers airtime direct to your phone, the customer does nothing else. They just get their airtime on their phone. That's it, done. Nobody prints any receipt, nobody needs to do anything else. Now, if a customer wants to transfer money from their MTN mobile money account, again, they go into the app, they click a button, they want to pay, do a pay-in, a Momo pay-in. They enter the mobile number of their mobile money account, they submit. Our system, the mobile money operator will ask them to authorize a transaction on their phone, separate from our system. They will go into their phone, they will authorize a transaction, that payment will be done. We will collect the money from their mobile money account and we would credit their account on the exchange. All this happens within seconds. If a customer now wants to use, the reason they do that is because within our system on the exchange, they can click a button, they can pay for electricity. They can click a button, they can pay for water. They can click a button, they can transfer money to somebody else. They can get a loan, okay? They can spend that loan and go to a supermarket and make a payment. When they get to a supermarket, they are not fiddling with a USSD code. They simply scan the merchant's QR code and pay. So it's very efficient. Now, the question I'm asking is, Sandile, if you have an API that we can connect to make all these possible, then we could do the following, okay? We can get the customers in South Africa to have an account on the exchange. They can use their card as they do now, and they can pay you, okay, as a merchant. And you could credit their account on the exchange. That's one. So that's a local transaction piece taken care of in RAN. You do that in RAN, whichever way you do it, I mean, as long as it gets done and gets settled in real time, and we are simply debiting your account on the exchange, we are collecting the money from the customer, and we are crediting the customer's account on the exchange because the customer has paid you, that transaction is done. Now, when it comes to buying, do you have an API?
For the services as well.
Yeah. Do you have an API that we can connect to in order to deliver the airtime to the customer's mobile phone? And I'll tell you how the journey should work. So a customer wants to buy airtime. We would debit the customer. We would credit Sandile's account on the exchange. Sandile's system would deliver the airtime to the customer's mobile phone, the way that you do it now. and the customer would get the benefit of a real-time experience of buying airtime. If they want to buy mobile data, same thing. If they want to pay for electricity, possibly the same thing. If you have access to a way of generating an electricity token that can be sent to the customer directly, so the customer can take that token, enter into their meter at home, and get lights and get power. That's what we're doing in Uganda now, as we speak. The whole thing has been digitized. If you go to a digital market now,
Doctor, we are now on the value-added services.
Yes.
The first thing is whether we can work together.
Yes.
And Sandile, can we work together to develop products and solutions that are customer-centric?
Yeah. So maybe before I answer that, Mr. Mawere, because I wasn't here when the meeting, and I think I missed the other meeting where we're explaining the platform. I know we had this discussion yesterday, Mr. about the platform and what it does, right? Maybe you could just give me a comprehensive understanding in terms of what the platform does. Then we can then see where the opportunities where we could work together, because I need
those are the things that when you fall in love, what do you do?
When you fall in love,
yeah,
you get married. I don't know what you do, Mr. Morel.
Yeah, first you must look at the product. In your mind, you must make up the without testing. Then you test the product when you are already in a problem.
That's really very good. Traditional values.
So you look at the target and say, we are talking about the same thing. What we want is just to have a coalition of the willing. Because when we are one, we are looking at a bank as just one bridge. Whether the World Economic Forum or it's us, what we want is to be able to give services to the people who are already banked and give those who are not banked access to banking services without opening a traditional bank account.
Correct.
We want merchants to be the branches of the bank.
Correct.
And we want the device to be the brick and mortar of the bank. So I don't have to go to the bank. So if that is what unites us in terms of the ecosystem, then the platform, you understand, is exactly what you are doing without the algorithm of a platform. Because right now you have to take the device, you have to leave the device, and you pay for the device. And then the merchant will have the device. Then there will be collections. And then you take the cash now from the merchant. So all I'm saying is, suddenly there is more that can be done when people work together. And then we approach the bank as one. So B is in South Africa, Dr. Linus is in the UK, but there's nothing to stop us going to the bank as a one team, so that we understand what the banking services or bridges are. Then we integrate. Then on the EVD, then look at the possible convergence and how to link to talk to each other digitally. But that's now a process.
I think Sandile already mentioned something which is very interesting. The fact, so in his expose, I kind of narrowed him on the aspect of the merchant outlet with a POS device and all of that, right? So he said what they are considering now is to create an application which the customers can just use directly, access the services, and actually cut off the merchant outlets, right? Looking at it from that perspective, then a meeting of minds in this in this group would become beneficial for Sandile and the team he's working with, because there will not be any need to go and create anything else because it's already available. It's now just seeing how do we bring those things into one application and in the hands of the customers who want it wherever they are in South Africa.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me, Sandile, it's a win-win. We have technical skills that ordinarily we would have to outsource. And
what's the name of your app called?
Please repeat the question.
The name of the app.
It's Token Pot.
Pardon?
It's Token Pot.
Are you able to type it on the chat here?
Yeah, I'll type it.
Please do. Please do. Mr. Mawere, if you can allow me to comment on
problem.
one.
I'm not a dictator.
One thing that you touched on here. Currently, I use so many different money remittance applications and companies like EcoCash, Cassava, and all that. They do their they do their KYC and all that. But guess what? I can't send money now using Cassava because my passport expired at the beginning of this month, and I can't get a new passport because of the pandemic. So I send my forms to get my passport renewed, but I'm now blocked from using that application because I used my passport as KYC. So these are some of the limitations we are finding with these traditional money remittance companies. Now, but having said that, we still have to do our KYC for regulatory purposes. Hence, if we are using members who are already part of an organization like African Heritage Society, it means you would have also done your vetting of your members. And also, when they come to the platform, the platform does its own KYC, but we are taking members of an organized institution already,
Yep.
which is also a plus. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah.
All right. So I think let's, Sandile, you want to understand the platform and see whether there's synergy between what you're doing and what they are doing.
Is that Vimbai?
Yeah, it's Vimbai. Hello, Vimbai.
Yeah,
We can see you.
Has she changed?
No, she just put on a hat. Hello, everybody. I didn't want to disturb, so I just kept quiet.
Sneaked in.
She sneaked in.
I think,
I did sneak in.
Yeah, welcome. And so where we are, there is one Daisy Harare says, I'm looking for that kind of platform. How much does it cost? What's the cost of the platform? That's we are not cash and carry, but let's understand the requirements so that we can be able to see how best we can collaborate. So I've given you the link. Let's be more organized and structured so that we can have a better voice. The market is too big for us to be divided. There is a lot for everybody. What we need is volume.
Yeah.
So if you are in Harare, don't feel you are excluded. But you can join this working team so that whoever has got the best bridge to where the money is, or the money should be, is a friend. Whoever can play a part in the value chain, the more the merrier. So we need legs. I'm in Joburg, they are. So don't worry if you're in Joburg. Let's try to work together so that we build a highway of users, not a highway of people who want to talk about using something. So at the end of the day, let us, you are not excluded, this, just follow the link and identify yourself so that we can know each other. So suddenly we arrange with Dr. Linus and Dr. B. We have taken more time than what we had anticipated because B was going to show us this ecosystem which is linked to ABSA. And I spoke to the bank manager at ABSA who handles the Africa Heritage Society account. And all I asked him is, we have a stock fair. And we want to be able to distribute money outside the bank and give our members convenience in terms of transfers between them, in terms of buying from friendly parties, merchants. So he said, can you put it in writing? What exactly do you want from the bank? If you want a API, just tell us what kind of API we need. So that's what I was trying to look from B to draft that letter. Then we send it to the bank manager and then find a way to get the correct answers.
Okay.
And
so I think,
yeah.
No, I think what we would do is that we will put together the kind of API access that we require from ABSA.
That's
and
right.
we'll share that with you so that you can take it to them.
No, it's all of us. You are with us.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. No problem. Yeah. I think the other thing is we would set some time with Sandile, and basically, I think Dr. Linus, we would work through the Ugandan exchange and how it already works now, so that he can see how his services, the services they already have on EVD, can just get into the exchange and then get into the hands of the customers directly. Because the whole idea is, how can the customers have convenience? How can we simplify people's lives across the continent? As they access different forms of their financial services, whether it's third-party services or it's direct financial services. How can we simplify that and bring everything into one port and one platform where whatever you want to do that relates to financial services, you can access it from a central port.
Right. So I think we are okay. So the last thing is already, just by being here, guys, we have somebody who says he's got a group of churches where
I saw that.
have approached the unbanked. So we're thinking along the same lines. So thank you for giving up time, because that's how every day we can pick up somebody who is also doing the same thing that you guys are doing. But
we are doing that. The same thing we are doing, Mr. Mawere. We are doing it together.
No, I think, yeah, we are doing it together. But you know what happens is the guys who go to a battle to die, the soldiers first. The general is the last one. You'll be drinking tea while people are being shot. And you don't want to be in the trenches. So we have people in the trenches here. We have a pyramid. And our Pope is not here, Dr. Kisango, but we have a pyramid. We have a Congress. So we want to talk and know each other first. So,
Mr. Nawere, is there a way of actually using this platform to share my screen, for example, so that
that's why I was saying I remove my screen here, and you can share. You see where it says share screen there?
Yes.
At the bottom there.
At the
So
bottom
we can, when we have sessions like this, we can do a quick demo, so to actually practically show people what we are.
That's what I'd hoped we're going to do.
Yeah.
But so that we don't have to have bilateral meetings and repeat ourselves.
Correct.
So when next time they ask us, we just say go to the video, and next time, you just say go to my book. So
and we can make it short and make it very task specific.
That's right.
How can
that's what people want. Just things that are to the point. What is the problem? What is the solution?
Exactly.
What is the problem? What is the solution? So we have a problem, frequently asked questions. Then we just do the programming, and you guys can give us the cue on what are the frequently asked questions. And and we have shows just to answer one question at a time, so that we don't have too many questions in one show.
Yeah.
So I think that's then the Sandile, there is aspects that we need. We have value-added services. We have entry into the bank. What do we need to do, and how do we introduce this platform? Because already, Sandile, you have the platform. Is that correct? You already have the platform. You have people. You issue debit cards.
Yes, the platform is there.
Yeah, the platform is there. So it already allows for distribution of debit cards. So if we follow what B has said, that the FNB has announced a virtual card, what we need is to go to FNB to say, instead of giving people physical cards, we want to integrate this app to our platform.
Yeah.
So that we will have this virtual card as an exit plan.
Yeah.
So people can load their virtual card electronically. It's like the wallet that you have.
How many people have you issued cards to so far?
Sandile?
I didn't get the question.
No.
How many people have you issued?
How many? I think maybe the question is, do you have a limit to the cards? Because right now he's more Mr. POS. You can hear him. He's in love with the printer, a paper. He's in love with the merchant. So I don't think he is focusing on issuing cards. But do you have a limit to the number of cards you can issue?
There's no limit, Mr. Mawere.
Okay. No, there's no limit.
There's no limit. So, yeah, that's the answer that he wanted, that if there is no limit, why can't we accelerate, work together to give this service life? Because right now, you may be focusing on the trading side, but not focusing on this mass market.
I think the one thing that this would do, especially for the immigrant community in South Africa, is that is really going to accelerate their access to financial services. And then based on the networks that we're already building around the continent, it would also accelerate their connection with their home countries. So, and that's a huge market, huge.
But that's what, and you know, xenophobia is a good market for this product.
Interesting. Yeah. So, and that's a huge market.
And COVID is a friend of xenophobia.
They are bedfellows.
It will provide a number of significant advantages to the diaspora. In many cases, in some African countries, the funding from the diaspora has exceeded foreign direct investment in recent times, and that's growing. So the diaspora is becoming a very important economic powerhouse for many countries. And many of these people engage in various projects at home. They run businesses at home. Imagine staying in London or the US and being able to track all your payments that are coming into your hotel or into your bar or into your restaurant in Harare or in Freetown or in Cape Town or anywhere else across Africa, and being able to pay your employees wherever you are instantly from one point. That's powerful. And that's the kind of opportunity that we want to create both at home and abroad, to empower at home, make business.
Right now, we already have an entry into the bank.
Yeah.
And there is a card system already, but it's not liquid because we are not pushing it.
Okay.
So we can tomorrow deal with those issues. So we don't have to waste time among ourselves. And then Dee said, Sandile, are you in South Africa or Uganda?
I'm in South Africa.
Sandile is in Joburg, from what I gather.
No, but most people, Dr. Line was talking about Uganda. So
I see.
So there's digital xenophobia as well. So,
where is this Harare based? Is he in Harare or in South Africa?
No, he's in South Africa, but he's asking whether.
Okay.
Yeah, so he just said Uganda and thought everyone is from Uganda.
No, I mean, I just gave an example of where it's actually working now, as I was describing.
No, I'm just saying in future in xenophobic Africa, just remember when you are in Rome, just say I'm a Roman.
Can I share something, Mr. Mawere?
Okay, no problem.
It's on xenophobia. We were having a meeting last night in our residents association. Yeah. So we have blacks and Indians. We had blacks and Indians, or we are a committee which comprises of blacks, black South Africans, and Indians, South African Indians.
Yeah.
And I'm the only foreigner, so to speak. Yeah. So the chairperson is a South African Indian, and I don't just take his word. I correct him. I challenge him at times, and he doesn't like that. So whenever I challenge him, he then comes. He brings in the issue of citizenship, or trying to find out whether I'm legally here, and all that. So I explained to him that the fact that your ancestors came to South Africa some years back doesn't necessarily mean doesn't make you more South African than I am, because mine left South Africa, went to Zimbabwe, and now I am back here. So I am more South African than you. And I even explained to him that xenophobia is not what you see in the streets. That's violence. Your fear of me considering me as a foreigner, that's xenophobia, because that's the fear of a foreigner. Because all the other locals, whatever he says, they take, they follow. And I'm not afraid to challenge him. And the fact that I challenge him, he's afraid of me, and he's trying to find ways of kicking me out of that committee.
That's good. Yeah. So at least now you know what exclusion is.
Yeah, yeah.
So we are talking about inclusion. And so when you talk about inclusion, you must know that those who are in, we want to keep you out. And those who are out, we want to kick those who are in out. So we have these constant struggles within struggles. So let's not be scared by someone from India calling himself more African than you. Why didn't you come early to South Africa before the Indians came? So that's another thing. But you find yourself outside by choices made by your parents not to cross borders. So you are the beneficiary of crossing borders. So let's say be borderless. So Saviors say you can tell him go to hell, because when I come to South Africa, I don't need to meet an Indian at the border. I just need to meet a person who works for Home Affairs. And when it's winter, there is no border that can stop people from crossing, because the crocodiles will be running away. So people will cross borders every day. So human beings are more difficult to control. You can't put them in cages. If one country doesn't offer the best, people will move anyway. So, and spoke to Zahira Hansa, head of the division, but I'm happy he has already done that. So he is happy. When somebody is happy, this Harare, let's find out why he's happy, and we are still asking questions. So that is the purpose of this show, so that we find convergence, we find inclusivity, we find faces and voices, so that when you talk about Ronaldo, Messi, we talk about Dr. Linus, Mpi, Saviors, and Wimbai, and Sandile is our new icons who can also offer services to those people who need services in Africa. We need to celebrate beyond the physical sports, music, so that we can also have pop stars who talk technology, who talk bridging. And now somebody was saying TVA. You can imagine, you talk that to your grandmother, say, what is a voucher? And right now you are confusing us. So suddenly you must come forward and tell us, what is the voucher? Why can a voucher not be in an app? When I go and have a ticket, I don't need to carry the ticket anymore. I just go with my phone, and I just scan or tap or do whatever QR code and get on with it. Why can't we? The reason why South Africa changes, because the paper economy is expensive. So let's be paperless, and let's fight to reduce the cost of doing business, so that we can achieve together. Otherwise, you'll be developing something that is paper-based, and then next day there's no paper. Yeah. I was in a court. And there was no paper. We never went to court, and it's all digitally now. They have a case line system where these things are now paperless.
Actually, the court sessions are can now be captured live and stored directly to a server so there's no need of talking of losing dockets or whatever. They are captured live and they are saved directly.
And it's you don't need transcription anymore. You don't have to remember. You just play back.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think
that's a very important point Mr. Mawere makes about keeping transaction costs down, because it's only when we begin to work together to keep operational costs down that we can increase the speed with which we can create wealth and grow wealth across our community.
That's right.
It is possible to transact paperless, let's transact paperless. On the Swift exchange or the WEC platform, the idea is that when a transaction is executed, there is a copy of that transaction on both sides.
That's right.
The initiator and the recipient, and they both walk away with a paperless copy of that transaction that they can refer to at any point in time whenever they need to access that particular transaction record.
So I think we are covered there, and so what we need is just to formalize the plan, the content management, and the content sharing, and we give you a radio slot that you can manage yourselves, so that you can then stream it and then you show it. You don't need me to be a spectator. But Dr. Linus, with your knowledge and your experience, we rarely have that on social media, because what will you be doing on your own, talking to yourself? But when we create an audience, let's try to use you guys wherever you are, so that we develop this community of service providers, so that people who know you, they can be able to access you. But if we know what we have to achieve, the biggest joke is that people left India without a business plan. People left Europe without a business plan. But they found one when they arrived. And we have ourselves in the majority in Africa with no business at all, let alone a plan. So why can't we convert ourselves into a pyramid? Dr. Linus, you know the Catholic Church?
Yes.
It's a borderless institution.
Operates in every country around the world.
Yeah. And the person they all look up to had no address. Jesus never left a GPS. He never left a bank account.
Mr. Mawere, is it possible that maybe I could get is it Harare they contact details, because he's saying he has a group of churches with Dan Bank. I think we'll be able to service that Dan Bank in the churches.
But that's what certainly I'm trying to say, that don't be transactional. Be transformational. Let's try to build the structure what Jesus left and ran away without any plan of a church. So let's be orderly ourselves. Who are we? So that we can then approach Z as an entity with its own.
We already have the platform that can offer such organizations like churches, and that's why we are together.
You're not understanding me. Jesus never built a highway. It's his followers who built one. But the moment one follower said, I got a highway to heaven, there will not be a church. Each one will be building their own highway, going to the same direction. So it's not the platform, it's the people in the platform. So who are we?
Indeed.
Because may I add in? Because if we look already how we are, like as it is now, considering where we have come from, we are already a team of people working towards the same way. But as we continue talking to each other, we discover more and more things that we can do together. When we started, we didn't plan to be where we are today, but we are building this together as we are going on the journey. So that's what we are talking about, that we have all different things that we can do. We are already doing different projects, but each one of us was going their own way. But we are more effective when we start coming together, because at the end of the day, all of us, what we are doing, we need people. So the more we know each other, the more we get to find similarities and things we can do together, or not do anything, but just get to know that we all exist.
So that's why we were not colonized by animals, we were colonized by human beings. All they did was have admin. So these Harari saviors, he says, I'm in the process of having a community bank structure. I, not we. And then he exposes himself by talking about community, and he's an individual. Where is the community?
There is a lot of power in collaboration and pooling effort.
So we can converge and not duplicate the same process. That's the spirit.
No, we don't need it. Yeah.
And you know what this says? He says,
bring
guys,
him in, Mr. Mawere. Bring him in. He must come on.
He says it was before today.
Okay.
And now he's singing Amazing Grace. That I was once blind, now I can see.
I can see.
That together we can get there faster.
Yeah, definitely.
And for us to start asking ourselves tests. I know Sandile was already under fire now by Professor Saviors. He was already. Where is your Play Store? I can't find it on Play Store. And he had to answer, it's not on Play Store yet, because for now we deploy it on our POS devices. Says, okay. So he was already checking that, are you on Google Play Store? And he's saying, no, why do I go to Google to go to heaven?
There's another back door to heaven.
So we are not here to just the coalition of the willing. That let's not test the platform with a negative mind. Let's not just go there and say, we know the people who are behind. I think if you are a hustler like Dr. Linus and B, they call themselves the World Economic Congress, but there is no Congress. They are just black brothers who are just using a mask. And then they say, we are what? Otherwise, if they say they are black people who test them every day to say, we don't trust whether your platform works. And we are saying, no, let's use your platform, because by using us, we are affirming ourselves. We are not blind. We must be able to find a way to work together to get it done. So we are not asking difficult questions with a view to stop. When you say GBPX, we are not saying it cannot be the currency. What we are trying to do is, guys, let's say not reinvent the wheel. The guys who left England and went to America, you know what they call themselves? They didn't call themselves Englishmen. They called themselves American. But they speak the same language. But imagine that Spanish guy who left Europe and went to America, and they had to change the language to speak English so that he can be in the highway. Those people were nationalistic like all of us. But they adopted change. Imagine to change your language to become someone you are not. In Europe, you don't like the English, but in America, you are one people. Just to get it done. So that 320 million can confuse the whole world. And you ask, who are you? I'm Irish American. Who are you? I'm a former slave. Who are you? We're all in one melting pot. Can't we see the power of coming together? Imagine I got a little America called German America, Polish America, then Afghan America. But they all come and collapse into one identity. And that's what these guys have done. They're not black. Linus is not black. Who told you he's black? B is not black. But the problem is not black. The problem of money payments or banking is not a black issue. Let's get system.
Not at all.
So let's come above the blackness of our platform.
I think, Mr. Mawere, you have just gone back to one of the conversations we had yesterday evening, where I was saying, quite frankly, if we had our way, if we could literally break away from the present denominational currency structures of the world, we would do that in a heartbeat. But the physical resources, the financial resources are still in these currencies. And we are saying, let's look for a way to bridge that gap, get what is still in that system into a new system and start creating a new way of thinking. And as time goes on, we would see how we completely break away from it. Because, quite frankly,
why do we need to break away, Dr. P? Why do we need to break away if I'm eating?
No, so beyond the fact that I am eating now, there is also the restrictions that it imposes on our own movements, on our own activities.
But it's fine. Life is about restriction. So let's celebrate the restrictions, but let's work within the restrictions.
Not to say that we want to break the law. No. Not to say that we want to break the law. We want.
I'm hearing you, but somebody came to me with a phone and says it's an African phone. Somebody says, no, I got a new platform that is not called Zoom. I said, why do I need to use yours just because they're African? I said, that would be the sad day to use your platform because it's an African. Let me use it.
I think there is an important point there that we live in a global economic village, really.
Yeah.
In terms of globalization, today in a heartbeat, in an instant, you can communicate with somebody in China. You can place an order for a product that will be delivered to you, in due time. And the reach, people today have the ability to reach all the corners of the earth. Technology has made that possible. So when we are thinking in terms of delivering solutions, I think our focus should not be to serve one particular segment of a community. Of course, we need to identify the challenges that are faced by those communities and create a solution for them. But quite frankly, a solution that addresses financial inclusion for the excluded will work just as well for the included or the banked anywhere in the world.
That's right. And
so imagine being able to just sit in your own home and do transactions and make purchases and make transfers to others. If somebody in a local village somewhere needs to be able to do that and they can do it, then somebody in a city somewhere should also be able to do it. And so, in fact, when you create a solution for the most difficult and most challenging environment, that solution becomes a standard bearer, even for the broader developed world or developed community.
You look at M-Pesa.
Yeah.
You look at these mobile payment systems. So I'm saying, B, you are already on the right path. You need cheerleaders, but not to limit yourself to Africa to become independent when there's no independence to asset.
No, so bear in mind that my statement was not for Africa. My statement was that we're setting the pace for a new order in which people would transact around the world. Not
That's right.
For Africa.
Okay.
No, I'm hearing you. I'm just reading.
Yeah, we are setting the pace because the guys who sat and did a printing on top of a piece of paper and called it the euro thought of how people were going to exchange value around the world.
That's
and
right.
Same for the dollar. So we are saying that we want to create something that people can exchange value from anywhere in the world, irrespective of where they are, and not being restricted by a specific currency.
Yeah, that's more like it.
That's what we're trying to do.
That's more like it. Yeah.
Yep.
But we don't have a structure in the open market. So we need to be organized. You know, Jesus left a blueprint for quorum. He said, if 2 or more are gathered in the name of World Economic Congress, the Congress shall be in session. He never said you must be 100. So wherever you already have a quorum. So every time there are more than 2. So I know that as you are surrounded by people who understand Jesus' organizational genius. So we are already there. So we have other people who may want to join us. Including now the former deputy prime minister of Zimbabwe, who was calling me. I sent him a link, but he probably would be scared to talk to you because he's a Mr. Payment something. He did a PhD in robotics, and he was doing all this payment. He was with Standard Bank, and that was his job. So let's ambush him so that we can hear his voice and we can aid him, because he was trying to call me.
That would be great.
Yeah. So at the end of the day, so you see, gentlemen, that the highway is already moving, brick by brick. We are going somewhere.
But we need more ladies. Wimbai. Where is what's your name? Edna. Is it Edna?
Yeah, Edna is sorted. I already spoke to her. Chatted with her this morning. She has already put up her IDs and all that. So it's confirmed. She said she's done it.
So that's don't invite people to something that is good, Saviors. That's what I learned. Don't invite a dog to bark.
Let them come. Let them see the light and come.
No, the fact that we have one woman must piss off somebody to come forward. But if you invited people just because they are women, you'll be disappointed.
Yeah.
So those with interest must feel free. But we are not going to wait because you are missing in the wagon. So this is not about gender. It's about serving people. It's about interest to serve.
So it's about access, inclusion, about empowerment, about creating opportunities for everyone who in the past has not been able to really move from where their perceived station is because of lack of accessible opportunities to expand their own horizons and to be able to monetize their own creativity. I think that's the kind of platform that we want to open up to the whole world, so that those that can participate and be able to monetize their transactional capacity and the products and services for the world can do that without boundaries.
Okay, so Dr. Linus and Mbi and Sebia say, what time would suit you if we started just a maximum of 30 minutes and you have a reliable show that deals with this issue and where you can just unpack what you have in a series of up to 30 minutes segments?
That's a great suggestion. Are we doing this daily, on a daily basis? A daily program?
You are asking Jesus who ran away. Am I going to church every day? When you are alive, just do, Dr. Liner. Don't ask what the platform can do for you, but just give up some 30 minutes of your time. And
I'm very prepared to do that. Let's do that.
For me, anytime after 5 p.m.
So we can say 5 to 5:30. And then Central African time, starting tomorrow, just to introduce yourself and what inspired you first. Then secondly, what is this platform all about? Unmask it. And just talk to us as if we are nobody, like we are your grandmother or grandfather. We don't know anything about technology. Just make it easy for us to understand.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And
we are in on a mission.
So that's what we can give to make sure that this idea is popular and it's newsworthy and it's sexy.
Excellent. Okay, do you need 5 to 5:30?
5 to 5:30.
You're 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Really?
So tomorrow is Friday, so that we can have the start, which is the last day of July 2020, the year of Corona and the COVID 2020. That we want to teach people about financial inclusion. We want a global university. Because what we are talking about is the way of the future. Is the way commerce is going to be done. Is the way distribution. People see Uber, Airbnb, and all these blockchain technologies. They don't understand what is involved. You talk about electronic cash. People think it's coming. This is voodoo. That's where we are already.
Yeah.
Excellent.
People talk about digital. It has been accelerated by COVID. So we are already in that civilization. So we can't opt out of it. We can't be African anymore. We just have to play along and be in the highway. Other people are moving.
Yeah.
So we might as well start a university of e-commerce, a university of to convince some of our traders to move away from the traditional ways of distributing solutions and products to the new way of doing business. But without the payment gateway, you can't get it. So we need to
I think what you are talking about is really powerful. I'm part of the African Union Free Trade Area network for the private sector. And part of the conversations we are having there, in fact, the free trade area was supposed to have started on the 1st of July. And there are 32 countries that have already ratified, passed, and it's already, their instruments are already deposited at the African Union Commission, which means they are now open and ready for that free movement of goods and services, and in fact, individuals, leading to up to this. But with the advent of the COVID situation, the start was moved to early 2021. But in the meantime, a lot of companies, a lot of organizations had already started preparing for this start. And part of what we are putting in place, part of what we are working on, even with this platform, is to say there is a way in which you can produce your products in Cape Town and make it available to someone who is in Cairo. There is a way that you can make your products or services available to someone who is in Morocco while you are in Zimbabwe and you have not moved an inch. Okay. And for that particular ecosystem to fully work, there are a whole lot of parameters that should be in place. In fact, we were just having a session, Dr. Linus and I, with another group, about setting up a product on the marketplace. And the key thing that everyone would ask is, how do I get my product? Because at the end of the day, we are saying we have to exchange value for value. So I give you my value, you give me my value, your value. I give you my product, you give me my money, your money. You give me your money, I have to be able to deliver your product. So that delivery mechanism of How do I produce in Cape Town and deliver in Cairo? How do I produce in Harare and deliver in Nigeria without having moved an inch? So all of that ecosystem is part of the work that is very, it's going on quite intensively at the moment. But the citizens of this continent are still to really understand where they fit in.
So that's
how do I pay?
But you are now.
How do I pay?
You are now.
How do I
to the AU?
Sorry.
So I'm saying you are now our bridge to the free trade, the continental free trade area. So you are there. You can tell them that I'm begged by people like all of us. We want to make you the bridge so that you can shine when you. There are many bullshitters in the AU. That's why Africa is divided. So,
and for us, for some of us, we are in the private sector, right?
Yeah,
we are in the private sector, and our own intention is to make sure that all the political machinations and all the political noise does not affect us business people. We just want to do business around the continent freely. We want to be able to move goods and services and get people to pay for goods and services anywhere on the continent, people to travel without being asked for a visa right at anywhere you go. Everywhere you go, you have to stop. There's a visa. Sometimes you even have to miss the meeting because the visa will take 2 weeks to be issued. But meanwhile, there are people who are coming from all over the world and just going in. But Africans can't move around freely. So for us in the private sector, that is our main mission. I want to be able to produce my product wherever I am and sell it wherever. I want to be able to pay for a service wherever I am and I get that service. I want to be able to travel.
Have you heard of something called C2C?
No.
Dr. Linus?
I have heard it a little bit, but not much in our conversations.
And you know
just a little bit.
You know what?
Community to community. We've talked about C2C.
Yeah, that's where we are coming in.
Yeah,
yes.
It's called
and the opportunity for collaboration with C2C as we roll out our endeavors.
But Dr. Linus, you have not understood the idea.
Okay.
The idea is that we right now we are like prostitutes who are here on the same platform by default. Because we have chosen not to be a family. We have chosen not to be a community.
Yes.
Yes.
The people we are linked to on LinkedIn are not your community because they are there. Some are dead for 10 years, but they're still showing as if they're connected to you. So we would rather have less people we know because the actual people we need in life are the many, but the few. When I need a doctor, I need a doctor. I would rather have a family doctor than have a doctor I don't know, who doesn't know my profile, my health. I would rather get a lawyer who I can call a friend than a lawyer who wants to see me down while I'm down already. So this is about converting us into one community, a borderless community. So 1873 is the name of the radio station. 1 + 8 is 9. 7 + 3 is 10. And the difference is 1. So we celebrate the power of one, not the power of World Economic Congress, Africa Heritage. These are just names. These are just vehicles to deliver a promise to human beings.
Dr. Mawere, it's interesting you say that. It's very interesting you say that because That is, in fact, one of the things that is at the very heart of the transactional community that we built on the exchange. And I will explain what I mean by that. If you look everywhere around you, we are actually, as human beings, we're organized as communities. If it doesn't start with your most local community to you is your family. And then you have the community that you live in, your neighbors. Your children go to a particular school where that school is an organized community. You may go to a church. The church is an organized community. We belong to a particular country that is organized as a community in that particular country with services that are offered along the lines of a very particular currency denomination that is supposed to be identifiable with that community. And what we are saying is we can actually reconstruct all this within an ecosystem, one ecosystem that enables those communities to be part of, to be all an interactive ecosystem where they can relate to each other, they can trade and transact with each other, and they can interact and exchange value in real time with each other.
That's what we are agreeing to. That's why I was saying, that's why you heard Mbai was talking about how do we collapse into one. You know, when you go to someone's tombstone, you see two dates. The date you are born and the date of birth. And the difference is just a hyphen. It's 180 degrees. That a human being is indivisible. So when we work together, what we use as vehicles, whether it's World Economic Congress, whether I use Africa Heritage Society, whether I use C2C, whether I use 1873, as long as the human beings who are behind it are connected, share the same values and principles, it means the vehicle doesn't matter. I can be in every country without violating any law because I don't have to be the same algorithm, the same platform. I can multiply it by every country. When I set up Microsoft, Coca-Cola, they could be global, but they have one head office. But they would trade and do things and produce goods and services, deliver the promise. So what we are trying to teach is that let's not be bound by labels that would then divide us. Yet the people who are in those labels are one. That's what C2C is. When I convert that selfish, random individual into a community of shared values, mutual aid, benefit, then I will have done my purpose. But how many of us are stuck on the binary? This is mine, this is yours.
Yeah.
How can a platform belong to one person?
Yep, it's a collective.
Yeah. We are, if we have a gateway to get into a bank, let's use that gateway. That's why we collapse into one identity. If Sandile is our best foot, they will discover at the bank there's Mawere. They say, where do you come from? I am also a friend of Jesus. So what do you call us? You call us Christians. But the Christ is not there. We are just hustlers trying to get things done. But we can't wait for things to be stuck in bureaucracy of identity politics. This is mine, this is yours. So we need a community so that we show up. And who are we? We are one. So that is what you have. Your name is already global. 1873, we couldn't call it as global because they say, who are you? To some, we say Africa is borderless in our minds. So 1873 stands for the Africa we want.
Yeah.
That there must never be at midnight a white person, a black person, because we are all dark at midnight.
Yeah. Very powerful indeed.
Okay, let me just, hey, Prof.
Yes, sir.
Hey, have you ever had something called World Economic Congress?
Yes, yes. That's tries to be an alternative to World Economic Forum.
Okay, I got some of the, they've done a payment system and a payment platform, which is global in construction and performance, but they are black people.
Excellent, excellent. No. I know of them, and they're doing good work. Where are they based? This one.
One is in London, another one in Zimbabwe, another one in South Africa. They are all over the world.
Yes. I was speaking to Professor Chinomona.
Chinomona, that's right.
He was also, talking about the same issues. So tell me more about this platform.
Hey, that's why I'd send you a link so that you can see them and see that they are black like you, but they don't have a professor or a former deputy prime minister. So I said, this is a Rhodes scholar. Yeah.
You've just sent the link right now.
Yeah, right now I'm with them, and I said I cannot be your leader because I'm blind. I don't know robotics. I don't know payment system. I don't know electronic cash, but I know somebody.
Yeah, actually, I remember. Can you introduce them?
Yeah, I sent you a link so that you can see them. Then you don't have to imagine them.
Okay. So what do I do now?
Just press that link and then you can see them.
Okay, let me do that.
Okay, thanks. Yeah. So.
Oh, I see. He knows Professor Chinomona.
Yeah, he knows Chinomona. Yeah.
Nice.
And Chinomona, we are also doing something with him on skills development on his global virtual university.
Yeah. So that development
of excellence, and I said, Professor, don't associate blackness with excellence. Just call yourself a virtual university.
Yeah. Well, it's good. It's good that you know Prof. Chinomona.
Hey, I introduced the Professor Mtambara to another professor because he was talking about your visa only a highway to heaven. I said, Professor, when you die, what are you going to leave the highway to?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's he's now there.
Great.
Hello.
Hello. Yes.
There's next to me is Dr. Linus.
Hello.
So that's Professor Arthur Mtambara. And
great.
You can introduce yourself quickly and then each one so that he understands where you are and what you're doing.
Excellent.
So Dr. Linus first.
Oh, me first. All right. Okay. Very good. Thank you for the privilege. My name is Dr. Etube. I've been working on this idea of being able to exchange value to create an inclusive exchange for people across the globe. And most importantly, to address some of the significant challenges and impediments to economic growth and exchange of value across the African continent, where a very large percentage of people, 80% plus, are excluded from the financial system, and they are not able to trade efficiently and cost effectively with their neighbors. And so even if somebody has a great idea, they cannot scale it beyond their immediate surroundings in order to start creating wealth and delivering those services outside their immediate surroundings in order to create opportunities for all. So we are a collection of people with a passion to create and roll out that kind of ecosystem to create inclusive access to financial services, digital financial services, in a way that perhaps the existing financial infrastructure is not able to provide seamlessly for all, so that we can all begin to create opportunities and empower the people across our region in order to be part of the reconstruction process of rebuilding Africa. And we're all part of a community, and that community can have different labels, but it's an ecosystem that actually embodies all communities. but we are working as World Economic Congress, Africa Heritage Foundation, the 1873 group. But the concept is that because we as human beings are organized around communities, about time that we create an ecosystem of value exchange that is really built around communities in order to make sure that that is as efficient and accessible as possible. And what I mean by that, if you think of a community, you start from the family, your mother, your sister, your brother, your sisters, your uncles. Outside that, your children go to school. That school community is organized. They have teachers, pupils, parents. We all who are Christians or people of faith from all denominations, we have organized communities around which we associate ourselves. That is a melting pot. People of all professions, merchants, financiers. We want to make sure that we can empower these communities and bring them into mainstream participative engagement in the real economy, so that somebody in Zimbabwe can come up with a great idea and be able to sell it seamlessly to 200 million people in Nigeria, and vice versa. And particularly now, with the reawakening of the openness, economic community across the continent, we really need to embrace an ecosystem of seamless and real-time value exchange across the continent in order to drive trade and commerce. So that's what we are about, and that's why we are here. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
And NMB. Hello.
Okay,
hello.
we can hear you.
B is B with us or he's gone?
I can see him and he's moving his head.
Yeah. Is
here?
Next one.
I can't hear. Is it me now?
Yeah, it's you.
Yes. Go on.
Is he hearing or what?
Hello?
There's a problem. And B, are you hearing?
I can hear everyone.
Yeah, okay, Sandile, or maybe, do you know Professor Mtambara Sandile?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Well, I suppose you can hear. I see everyone is frozen on my screen.
No, we can hear you.
Everyone is frozen on my screen.
All right, then
okay,
get
some
out
movement.
and come back. Okay, let me remove you so that you can come back. Hello? All right, let's go for Sandila. Are you still there? No, Sandila.
Looks like there are four of us now.
Yeah, he's back. Yeah, he's back.
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah,
can you guys hear me? I think everyone is frozen on my screen.
No, can you hear me? Can you see my hand? No, it looks like he's.
I think we have a communication issue there.
Okay, then Wimbai, can you go ahead?
Oh dear. Okay. Hello. I'm Wimbai Chuswa, and I'm coming from the C2C, which is the Connections to Communities, whereby we are building a bridge. Like I am part of it, as in I'm walking the journey already, building the highway, and as I'm walking, others are joining this highway. Where together we'll make something that is good, that will benefit me as an individual, as well as others who are around me. And if nothing really, like something that I can produce, but I'll get to meet other beautiful people.
All right. Professor, do you know anything called C2C?
Say that again.
C2C, what she was referring to. C, number 2C.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, she's saying that she's part of an initiative that is promoted by the radio station to convert connections to communities, to build communities where value can be exchanged, where people can get to know each other, aggregate, optimize, accelerate. So it's an accelerator. So there are many people who are dealing with complex problems in silos, and there's no convergence, and claim to be African when Africa doesn't have 20 names. It's just one continent. So what she's in the UK, and she felt it was important to add her voice and face to this initiative. So she's been trying to recruit Dr. Linus because he's too important for us, but he ran away to the UK. We don't want him to come back. So every time we say what should be the currency of choice, he is speaking on behalf of the Queen. So we know where he's going. So Mbi is here in South Africa. And can you hear us now? Mbi, can you hear us?
Slightly. I don't know whether you can. Yeah, slightly. I don't know whether you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
Yeah. So yeah, great. So thanks for joining us. We've been having an interesting conversation before you came, but just as a way of introduction, my name is Mbi Mbappe, and I'm based in Johannesburg. And my background has been littered with trying to look for solutions to complex problems, as Mr. Mawere called them, and you know, and those solutions spans across financial services, health, education, and infrastructure. And as time has moved on, what became clear to me probably about 10, 12 years ago was that almost all of these things would end up on some platform, on some kind of a technology for people to be able to access wherever they are, you know, at their convenience. And you know, as part of that history, we have been working on a whole host of this kind of platforms. You know, we were talking now about financial inclusion. We are also just completing the platform that that Mr. Mawere was talking about for Professor Chino Mona. We've been working in the behind the scenes on that platform to bring it to where it is right now. That's for education. And we also have one for you know, for access to health and medical services, which is also part of looking for solutions to the access of medical services and quality medical services and medical personnel from around the world, and a whole host of others. So that's those are the kind of things that really interest us, and looking at how we connect.
What's happening with the technology here?
I think it may be a connectivity on his part. It's not our technology, but it's called StreamYard. So I take no responsibility. He's back. MB, go ahead.
Can we fix this? Because I can hear you.
Oh, you can't hear him.
What's happening? Is it because we're streaming? Why is it like? Is it because we're streaming?
I don't know why. Unless unless we can do a Zoom link then. Hello, B. On my side, I can hear him, but
Sam, this side is breaking off. I can hear him, but it's breaking off.
Can we talk without streaming? Can we remove the streaming?
yeah, no problem.
Can we remove the streaming?
Yeah, but it will stop, and then I can send you a Zoom link.
Can we? We can hardly communicate here, Mawere. Can we remove the streaming? What can we do? Can we fix the technology, please?
All right. No, I'm saying is I will have to stop the stream and then send a new link.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. So let me stop this one and then send a new link.
All right. Okay. Let's do that.